You know, as a YouTuber, you really can't please everyone at once. It's simply impossible. If you try to pander to one group, another one is going to be upset with you for pandering to the others, and a third group is going to be upset with you pandering to anyone at all. But I do see the criticism, you know? For example, when I felt really burned out in the game, people commented that they got kind of tired of me just bashing it in more and more videos. I see that and, well, I react, not because I necessarily agree with the notion of trying to please these particular viewers, but because in that case, I agreed. I was being unnecessarily negative. But as is the nature of the YouTube comment section that is not one unified massive opinion, but instead consists of different people cycling through with each video, you simply can't please everyone. So when I upload my most recent video talking about my opinion of the good and the bad of Season 6 with a big focus on the things that I like, the outcry in the comment section was fairly significant, directing my attention towards the opposite, all the things that still needed fixing. And that's what I want to focus on today, a mix of opinions incorporating my own, but also some things I saw in the comment section that players feel the game still needs to fix. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 1. Netcode inconsistencies. The netcode has been playing a crucial role in a lot of problems we had throughout the competitive seasons in Overwatch. Reinhardt's shatter and even his basic attack, the massive projectile hitboxes surrounding Hanzo's arrow, and now the most recent fix to Doomfist's right-click hitbox. All of these things would not have been as much of a big deal if the netcode was a little more, well, snappy feeling. Now obviously, me being the entitled gamer that I am, it's easy to just say, fix your netcode, when in reality that is a fairly complicated endeavor. But reality is that your players don't care how complicated it is, and that's because they shouldn't have to. It is not a consumer's responsibility to educate themselves on something as specific as a game's netcode just to be able to excuse your faulty game design. Now listen, I am a firm believer that the reason the hitboxes in Overwatch are so generous is not solely because it makes it easier to actually hit something on console, but also because they could not figure out how to make a netcode that feels more accurate. And that shows in the gameplay. Getting killed by Hanzo when on your screen you were clearly behind cover, getting punched by a Doomfist who should not have been able to touch you, getting literally grabbed out of the air by Reinhardt's hammer even when he could not see you on maximum FOV. All of these things are frustrating and dumb, and they would not have to be necessary if the netcode in Overwatch felt better. Yes, it is complicated, but that does not mean that it's fine leaving it as is and trying to mask it with massive hitboxes. Something that makes or breaks a shooter next to gunplay is how snappy the netcode is, and by God, I have played free-to-play shooters that don't only beat Overwatch in any way possible when it comes to gunplay, but also netcode. Having things in your competitive game that are always unpredictable sure is not a great thing, but I guess that's actually a Blizzard thing by now, isn't it? Number 2. Matchmaking. For some time I was under the impression that it was only high elo that really suffered from this issue. Having a Grandmaster player compete in a team of 3500s and possibly even a Diamond to mix things up is not great. Makes you wonder why you put so much work into getting Grandmaster when the quality of matches is literally just taking a hit. But top 1% aside, I've been reading a lot of comments of disappointed and also aggravated lower elo players who are not happy with the current state of matchmaking. These inconsistencies I just mentioned in high elo are seemingly happening in low elo as well, where your matchmaker will suddenly throw a gold player into a diamond match just to somehow equalize the numerical skill ratings with seemingly no consideration for how that actually impacts the match. Bottom line is that it never feels great to put in the effort to get better and rank up just to have the matchmaker say, too bad, and throw you into matches way below the elo you worked so hard for. And I understand that on your paper, those matches should be balanced, but you also have to consider what that does to team morale. I mean, you are screwing yourself enough with these stupid gold medals that players keep using as excuses over and over again. But seeing someone in your team who is not even in your division or competing in matches that are way below your rating just does not feel great. It makes players feel like they got into a match already handicapped out of the gate. I mean, the concept of player perception is nothing new to you, and we know that because you keep referencing it in your developer updates regarding hero balance. But for someone who speaks of player perception so frequently, you do very little to educate your players on what is actually going on in the vast majority of circumstances. In my opinion, a player should not have to go out of their way to watch a YouTube video of some guy grabbing a random post that one dev decided to reply to only because that thread grew very popular. There are things you should let us know right out of the gate to avoid these outcries to begin with. Honestly, at least half the things that players say need to be fixed don't actually need any sort of fixing. All it takes are some explanations. Players hate what they don't understand, and in Overwatch, there is a lot that they don't understand. So maybe you'd better put more effort into explaining these things to them to fix their whining. And lastly, number 3, 2CP. The one thing that the absolute vast majority of players can stand behind as a united group is the fact that we hate 2CP. Yes, there is your 10% that doesn't mind it and another 5% that might even like them, but the majority of us agrees to this game mode offering the absolute worst competitive experience currently in the game. You know, I usually try to put the most interesting point at the end, but given that statistically most people watching this video don't even stay long enough to ever hear of it, here you go. 2CP is not fun to play and we hate it. The solution is not making another 2CP map that does all the things wrong that we already despise about the other maps. Neither is it making King of the Hill a best of 3 to make it shorter while we still spend upwards of 25 minutes trying to figure out which heroes stall for the most time on the point. And even if statistically King of the Hill was worse than 2CP, at least more people could agree to KOF being a reasonably pleasant game mode. I mean, it's about fragging the F out of the enemies rather than cheesing them into oblivion, so who could blame them? 2CP is one of these things that players either have 100 solutions for or none, and I dare say that most of the things people come up with are outright stupid. However, at least they're trying to get creative, and I have to give them credit for that, because unlike you, who seems to be absolutely content with the fact that so many players absolutely hate this game mode, at least they try to come up with a solution. Oh boy, I should have put a trigger warning before that paragraph, but anyway, now to wrap this video up, which I don't usually do in this top list format, I would really just like to re-emphasize my stance on the amount of information that Blizzard is withholding. I'm not asking for company secrets of any sort, but one reason why your ranked game mode makes players feel so miserable at times is because nobody can agree to a level of standard. You have a bunch of content creators out there all trying to piece together the random bits of info you give us every once in a while in response to a popular forum post, but beyond that it's more or less speculation. Your attitude of just waiting things out and working on stuff behind the curtain is really frustrating to those of us who are really invested in your game as a competitive experience. So many people are tired of arguing with others about the importance of gold medals, the reality behind meta play, the uncertainty of the report system, and the list goes on and on. Any information that the game itself provides is absolutely minimal, and you guys don't put a lot of effort into educating us on things that a lot of us are getting wrong since season 1. And that, I feel, is the most dire thing that needs fixing. Take care of community misconceptions once and for all by giving us more information. Explain things that players think are broken, improve the tutorial and info provided by the game itself, and give us more sneak peeks behind the scenes that aren't just announcements for more loot boxes. But with that said, I'm actually as happy with Overwatch as I could be right now. I mean, admittingly, season 5 has lowered my expectations big time, but even with all the standard ladder BS that all of us are experiencing, I'm having a great time playing Overwatch right now. This video was more in response to the comments that prefer counting mistakes over embracing improvement. It's never bad to keep complaining, as voicing your opinion like this contributes to the game not stagnating at a level that makes the experience miserable. But sometimes we should just celebrate the small victories, and right now that's what I'm doing. So if you excuse me, I'll go back to dropping some elo, and by God, I'll have a great time doing it. But until then, this is me done for the day. So I talk about 3 things in Overwatch that I believe direly need fixing. If you want to add on to the list, then feel free to do so down in the comment section below. But don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you all next time.